The Democrats had a ceremony for the enrolling of the bill, which is purely a formality, which is rarely remembered in ceremony or observed in ceremony. They did. They made a statement. The president didn't veto the bill in public, but he came out and made a 10-minute statement and requesting time from the networks for it. And then since that time, the Democrats have come back for another bite at the apple as well, and we may see some of that later on. But I think we all know what the state of play is here. So now what? Mort?
Well, they're going to have a meeting tomorrow, as we know, and they're going to try to work something out. The president did not say, among his reasons for vetoing the bill, that there were benchmarks in it to hold the Iraqis responsible or to set guideposts for the future. So that, as Major Garrett indicated, is an area where you could possibly reach agreement if you can define benchmark in a
non-binding way?
Well, a non-punitive way, not, which doesn't lead to troop withdrawals and doesn't lead to withdrawals of money, I would think, from the Iraqi government, thereby disenabling them to do what they're supposed to be doing. I talked to our ambassador to Iraq today, Ryan Crocker, long-distance phone call, long interview, and he says that what's going on in Congress really is hurting his ability to get the sides in Iraq to make agreements with one another, that it hardens the sectarian divisions and it reduces the
How do you explain that?
Well, because they think we're bugging out, that they think we're going to leave, and that instead of reaching across lines and making agreements with the adversary, they're getting ready to go to the mattresses.
Yeah, although I don't know whether we're leaving or staying has had any effect at all on their ability to reconcile. But I do think the debate is now going to move to these benchmarks. The whole debate is going to be about what are the consequences if the benchmarks aren't met. The benchmarks themselves are benchmarks that the Bush administration
can accept,
they're actually benchmarks that the administration itself has set and has tried to get the Iraqis
and indeed even the
meet.
Maliki government has accepted certain
I think
benchmarks.
the only question is what happens if
they don't
not
live
met.
up to them.
And it's certainly true that they haven't been living up to them, and they've been out there for some time.
Well, they've lived up to
on that point, Crocker said that there actually is some movement, like on the Electoral Commission, to have regional elections. There are proposals for constitutional amendments. You just don't see it reported in the media.
Look, the argument is going to be about the benchmarks, and I think the Democrats cleverly have chosen an issue where there might be weakness on the part of Republicans in the Congress. You've got some Republican leaders in the House who are seemingly amenable to the idea of imposing benchmarks. The Democrats will want to impose them with the threat of reducing the amount of non-military aid that we are now giving to the Iraqi government. And apart from the war in Iraq, the one thing in Congress that's the most unpopular of all is foreign aid, always the easiest to oppose. So they'll propose that if the Maliki government, which is problematic, everybody understands, doesn't meet the benchmarks, then you will cut out of the $5.7 billion. I'm not sure that the Republicans in the House would accept that, but you could get some defections on it. I'm sure that the president would oppose it. But if some Republicans defect on that in the Congress, it'll weaken his position.
Now, the Democrats in Congress, Carrie Reid said in a statement in the last day or so that the increased terrorism there is another reason why we need a new approach in Iraq. Of course, that terrorism is coming, as we all know, from al-Qaeda. Is the war so unpopular now that it doesn't matter what the arguments are for continuing it? It doesn't matter that if the Democrats want to leave, it would appear they're willing to run away from a fight with al-Qaeda? Does that not matter anymore?
I think it matters.
You do?
If you can make the case, maybe the president can't ever speak to the American people again on this, but I think Petraeus can. And when he comes back in September, if he makes a case that, A, we are succeeding against al-Qaeda, and we've had remarkable developments in Anbar, a province which had been declared lost to al-Qaeda just half a year ago,
al-Qaeda haven,
completely lost. We now see the Sunnis in Anbar rebelling against al-Qaeda and taking up arms against them. That's remarkable. If he returns and says we're making progress, and if we leave, al-Qaeda wins Iraq, that will make the case.
I actually think that opinions have really hardened. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to convince the American people something other than they think. I think the one thing that will work is not so much arguments, but if they perceive that Iraq looks better, that the violence is subsiding, that some kind of reconciliation is underway, and that, ironically, would lead to the ability of the administration to pull down troops anyway.
So if the sectarian violence subsides
and the terrorist
and the terrorist activity mounted by Al-Qaeda, nobody seems to be arguing that it isn't Al-Qaeda, continues.
Well, the sectarian violence is already lessening. I'm saying I think you have to have some basic safety. Yes, you have to have progress on both.
The question is, with the total number of civilian casualties at the moment, it's true that the Shia militia are not killing as many Sunnis as they were, but the Sunnis, the Al-Qaeda people, are blowing up as many Shia as they ever were, and we have not reduced civilian casualties. That has got to go down.
Next on Special.